CNN, Yage.
This is CNN. This is an iconic sentence, known, very well known all over the world.
Oh, we practice it. I mean, none of us can come close to the way James Earl Jones says this.
No one. This is CNN.
So, you know, I'm Richard Quest in Westminster, and this is CNN, and this is CNN, this. So you practice it.
Richard, this is very powerful. Everywhere in the world, everyone knows that this is CNN.
Yeah.
This means something. But I want to ask you today, how is CNN and why journalism still matter today?
Oh, I can give you 1,001. I hope you've got lots of tape because we could be here for a long time. I mean, why journalism? Because people want to know. It's always been that. Listen, it can be two washerwomen over the garden fence putting out the washing, gossiping about what they've heard up the street. That's news in a way. It's just not verified.
It is.
And one of the things I've always loved is this concept of, I'm going to tell you what's happened since you went to bed. It might be of interest and importance to you in your day. I've always loved morning broadcasting, and I think there's something really magical about saying to people, since you went to bed, this has happened. And I think in the evening you want to say to people, this has happened and this is why it's significant.
Richard, let's talk a little bit about what is going on with our society, with our generation. Romania has the largest border with Ukraine. The Romanians was watching what is happening in Ukraine since the war began like crazy. You can understand why. And now a lot of questions, we have a lot of questions as journalists. What is going to happen? When the war is going to end? What is going to happen with Putin, politically speaking? What is going to be with economical crisis, with the energy crisis? Tell me, first of all, your three questions as a journalist, the most important questions to find what is going to happen, and of course, if you have answers for them.
Oh, I think the first question is, how far is Putin prepared to prosecute this war now that he's essentially fighting NATO?
Right.
As we put further armaments in. I think there's how far can this go? If you remember before the start of the war, Putin specifically said, I have no intention of invading.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't believe him. We hoped for the best. We were proved right when he invaded. But if you just pause and think about that, whatever great transgressions NATO may have done by expanding to the Baltic states and to other countries in Eastern Europe after the fall of the wall, whatever things NATO got wrong, nothing would justify what we're seeing today. Nothing at all. And so the seriousness and the gravity of it is beyond that. Now, the economic issue is really important as we come into winter, because as we come into winter, will the German housewife and houseman, will they continue to say, we support Ukraine when our oil prices are through the roof? My electricity bill, I've got a place in London, my electricity bill has doubled and it will triple and quadruple. Yours probably has the same. At what point will we say to our elected leaders, stuff Ukraine, tell them to make peace?
Exactly.
And what really worries me is that, and it's this Henry Kissinger line, isn't it? You know, we all know there's going to have to be a negotiated peace at some point. But if we start to fray at the edges on this, if we don't hold firm, as journalists, we have to test it left and right, both sides. You have to test the side that says we keep fighting, and you have to test the side that says it's time for a settlement.
They have a question, both sides. They have a question. Is this winter, and after what is going to happen after this winter, the worst winter of our lives, with crises that we can even imagine? What do you think about that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
There's a war in Europe.
Yeah.
We were told this was never going to happen again. Well, we saw it in the Balkans War, of course, and we didn't do a very good job stopping that. Now we're doing a much better job in terms of Ukraine, in the arming of the Ukrainian forces. We've had economic crises for the last 15 years, ever since the debt crisis of 2008, and arguably you can throw in the Asian financial crisis. But we've essentially been in economic turmoil for the last 15 years. Now they have the pandemic, which absolutely screwed us economically. Don't be fooled. 2 or 3 years of governments pumping money in after 8 years of pumping money in, and we end up with this inflation. We thought we'd cured inflation. We thought we knew it. I guarantee you, every one of those central bankers 2 years ago would have said, we will not let inflation. We know what to do. We will make sure we steward it properly. And then it comes back. So it's going to be a very, very difficult winter.
And after the winter, the question is, which crisis will be the worst for our generation that we have to face it? Which one? The economical one? The disinflation? We don't know what is going to happen?
Neither of those. Climate.
Which one? Climate?
Yeah.
Why?
Because we're destroying because, let me ask you a question. Do you believe that we have any capacity and capability to actually make the necessary cuts before it's too late?
Difficult question. If you're asking, depends who wants to answer to your question.
You!
Me? I'm afraid, I don't know.
And now you do know, you just don't want to say it. You're afraid, like the rest of us, that actually we know what needs to be done, and we either can't or won't do it in time.
No, I'm afraid we won't do it in time.
That's worse than can't. But yes, and that's it. And that's why the economy will turn around. Ukraine will solve itself in some shape, form, or description. We'll have another pandemic or two at some point in the future, but the climate issue is existential. Everything you see goes away with the climate crisis. And I just don't know whether we have the ability to actually deal with it. We say we do, but I think we need to see the evidence of it.